If you want to hold a handstand but you didn't do gymnastics as a kid, well, here's the step-by-step process that I've used to help hundreds of people get their first wall handstand as a CrossFit coach for over 10 years. Believe it or not, we've already started the first step. Freestanding handstands look cool as, and that might even be your goal. But just like when you build a house, without laying foundations, you can't start going up. Our goal for today is to kick up against a wall safely and consistently. I've seen plenty of adults skip this step, and unless you're in a room with like a padded floor, that's a huge mistake. If we know the goal is to reach the wall, what position are we aiming for with the 4 exercises today? In a handstand, we want the hands planted on the floor, shoulder width apart. The fingers grip the floor to activate all the muscles up your arms. The elbows are locked and the shoulders are fully open and shrugged. This helps to lift the rib cage and straighten out the upper back. And then the lower back gets straightened out with the tuck of your pelvis. And then the straight knees and pointed feet round out our strong controlled position. If you're already thinking, my word, that's a lot to remember, you don't need to. This is just an overview and the exercises are going to cover them all so your body remembers what position to be in. I found the straight arm plank covers about 80% of the technical issues off the bat. So we're going to go with hands shoulder width apart. We're going to grip the floor with those fingers. We're going to lock the elbows. Engage the shoulders by pushing into the floor. Try to form a hollow body, so push your ribs towards your hips and tuck your hips towards your ribs. Lock your legs and point those toes. It can be tricky here to know how hard to squeeze, so if you have something like a water bottle or a yoga block, stick it between your thighs and squeeze it tight. This is a slight tangent, but at this point we could just start working our way up the wall so we get stronger at increasing angles at our shoulder as we move closer to the wall. This is perfect for the big goal of a freestanding hold, but I found if you're just trying to kick up facing out, the jump between a plank and a hold can feel way too much. And the main reason for that is, as Coldplay once said, a rush of blood to your head. I found a headstand next helps to practice controlling our body when it's upside down, although you'll feel a lot more pressure in your head than you would in a normal handstand. But don't let that put you off. With our hands shoulder width apart, our head helps us form a triangle. We can either set our knees on our elbows and press up into our headstand, or we can just pull our legs up. I find a straddle the easiest. The goal here is to keep your center of mass, so your belly button, somewhere in this triangle. You might want to do this against the wall to start with, and even if you feel confident in the headstand, it's worth practicing getting up and down out of it, as that'll really help us with our kick up later on. Now bear with me one last time and then we'll get into our handstand. When we were in a headstand, most of our weight was through our head and neck, but by using the crow we can get all of our weight through our wrists, and that'll help us figure out how hard to push and engage through the hands and forearms, which will make us feel stronger and safer when we go upside down. Alright, we made it. The kick up. We're going to sweep, push, press and snap. Sweep one leg, push with the other leg, press through the shoulders and snap your legs together. I reckon it's worth just giving this a blast and seeing what you can do. But if you've done that and you're finding this difficult, I've done a more in-depth video that'll help you build this up in smaller chunks. We have reached the final step, possibly the most important one of all. Reach your arm out with the palm up to the sky, bend at the elbow, bringing your hand towards your shoulder, and give yourself a pat on the back for doing such a good job. And that's it. Now that you've got your plan, go warm up your wrists and get upside down.